So okay, so we are discussing few decision making statements. So we have seen how to write simple if else, and we have also seen how to write this nested if else. So now I'll tell you how to use else if ladder. So out of which we have discussed two. So this the first one, that is if else. So this is a two-way selection statement. I already told you. So what is a two-way selection statement? So when we use this two-way selection statement is when you have only two options and you need to choose one among those two, like even or odd, leap year or a non-leap year, A is greater or B is greater. So in that kind of situations, I'll go with simple if else. So the remaining two will come under multi-way selection state. So what is multi-way? You need to choose one among more than two options you have. One among more than two possibilities. Like A is greater, B is greater, or C is greater. Or you can say you have multiple options. So more than two. It may be three, it may be four, any number. So you can call it as a multi-way selection statement. So nested if else is one type of writing multi-way selection. Else if ladder is the other type of writing a multi-way selection. So we have one more is also there. Okay. So now we'll see. So nested if else. So nested if else, it is possible to use nested if else for any number of multiple options you have. But if you choose this nested if else for more than like four or five possibilities, the way you write the program, so it becomes more complicated. So writing of if inside if, one more if inside, one more if inside. So the complexity of your logic is very hard to identify. You can write any number of nested if statements, but the thing is the complexity of your program will get increases in the same way. Okay, so to avoid that complexity in the logic of the code, so it was introduced with writing else if later. Else if later. So we'll write it like else if. See, so first of all, I'll write like this. So I'll use if and I'll write one test condition. So if this test condition one satisfies, I'll execute this block. If the test condition one is true, I'll execute this block. If test condition one is false, then it verifies for this condition 2. So this will be verified only when condition 1 is false. That way it will verify test condition 2. If test condition 2 is true, it executes this block. Okay. So if this test condition 2 is false, then it goes with test condition 3. If 3 is true, it will execute this block. So in that way, it will verify all the test conditions in the order in which you are writing. If none of the conditions you written, like test condition 1, test condition 2, test condition 3, if none of your conditions are true, then it goes and execute your else body. That means it will execute the else block. Suppose let us assume you have written 5 conditions and none of your condition is satisfying, but no condition is getting true. In that case, the least priority and the last priority is given to the else block. The last priority is given to else block. You can write any number of else if statements, any number of else if statements depending on your task. And remember one thing, all the test conditions, test expressions you write will be verified in the order in which you write the code. First it verifies expression 1, then it verifies expression 2, then it verifies expression 3, 4. If none of them are satisfying, it goes and execute the else body, that is your else block. Else block is given the least priority, the last option. Okay, so see how it looks when it is in written in a flow chart. See, first it verifies your condition 1. If condition 1 is true, that means if it is yes, it executes this statement 1 and it simply comes in this way. That means this indicates statements just below it. That means the statements which are not related to any of the block. Statements not related to any of the blocks. Suppose if your test condition 1 is false, then it verifies your condition 2. If condition 1 was true, so none of the conditions will be verified and no blocks will be executed. Only it executes statement 1, that means the first block, and simply comes out of the block. If test condition 2 is true, it will execute this statement 2, that means this second block, and the control will come out of this way. Anyhow, it will execute the statements which are written after the block. That means these statements. So those statements will be executed at anyhow. But in which order it is executing? Suppose if your test condition 2 is false and it verifies 3. If this 3 is true, so it would have executed statement 3 and then it comes out of your block like this. If test condition 3 is also false, that means this is also not satisfying, then in that case it will go to the else body. So before getting into the else body, it will not verify any conditions. I have written 3 conditions. If 3 conditions are not getting satisfied, then it will go and execute the statement which is written in the else body without verifying anything. So before executing else body, it will not verify any conditions. It simply execute your else body and it will execute the statements which are written below it. So this is a bit simple in writing when you compare it with this nested if else. Okay, this is a flow chart for writing of else if ladder. So all the condition 1, condition 2, condition 3 are the test expressions you write in if, else if, else if, else if, like that. So got it? So you're able to understand what happens in this else if ladder?
Yes, sir.
So I'll explain you with one examples. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'm the example.
Yes. Okay. So I'll start with hash include stdio dot h. So we'll take an example of the biggest number among three. The same example I'll take and I'll tell you. So I have three numbers A, B, and C. Okay. So I'll take some numbers in this variables A, B, C, and I'm just trying to identify which is the uh, biggest number. Okay. So first of all, I have to declare the variables I require. I'll say int A, B, and C are my three variables. I'll take input for these variables. So user will enter three values. I'll read them: percentile D, percentile D, and percentile D. The first is ampersand A, ampersand B, ampersand C. So I have taken input for the three variables. So now the logic is I need to identify which is the biggest one. Okay. So let us take. I'll take a variable. Say I'll take one more variable. Say big. Okay. If I found A is the biggest number, I'll fill this variable big with A. If I found B is the biggest number, I'll fill the big with B. That means I'll copy the value of B into big. If I found C is the biggest number, I'll copy the value of C into big. Okay. So this is what I want to do. Okay. See, how can you say that A is the biggest number? So what are the chances or what are the possibilities to tell that A is the biggest number? So when you can say that A is the biggest number out of three? When
When the value of A is greater than B and C.
simple, when the value of A is greater than B
B and
and
C.
C. See how we'll convert that. Let's write a sentence. If the value is A is greater than B, value of A is greater than C. So when you have this, when you are writing a condition or a test expression with more than one relational operator in that. So by simply if A is greater than B, I can't conclude that A is the biggest among three. Or if A is greater than C, I can't conclude that it is big. It should satisfy both the statements. A should be greater than B and A should be greater than C. So when you are combining more than one relational operator, you should have a logical operator also. So see, I'm telling A value is greater than A and A value should greater than B and C. That means A value should be greater than A and A value should be greater than C. Okay, you simply combine this. So this is how I'll write. A value is greater than B and A value is greater than C. If both the conditions are satisfied, so then I can conclude that A is the biggest number and I'll fill my big with A value. Clear? So
Yes,
is
sir.
it clear? Suppose if A is not the biggest number, so that means this condition is not getting satisfied. So if A greater than B and A greater than C is not satisfied, that means A is not the biggest number. Then who is the biggest number?
C or B.
Yes, B or C.
C.
Okay. So now the biggest number is in between these two, either B or C. So how to conclude that B is the biggest number?
When it is bigger than C and A.
C and A. And by luck, A is already ruled out because A is not the biggest number. So this part we are discussing because A is not the biggest number. If A was the biggest number, this is not the point of our discussion, right? If this condition satisfies and A is the biggest number, so we wouldn't have discussed this. So that means the control coming to the else part here because A is not the biggest number. So now the biggest number is in between
C, B,
B or
B, C.
so here I'll write like this. Else if the value of B is greater than C, so that means I have only B and C here. So now I'm comparing, my concentration is only on these two, B or C. If the value of B is greater than C, I'll say big is equal to B. If this is also not satisfying, that means B greater than C is also not satisfying, then who is the biggest number?
C.
Automatically,
So
C is the biggest number.
yes, without verifying anything, I can simply say that big is equal to C, right? So after coming out of this here, now I'll write a print statement. Percentile D is I'll write this statement. That is big. So percentile D, that is big is the biggest among three numbers. Okay. See what happens when you execute this. So expected a semicolon can have, so that means I will not, so if you forgot anything, the compiler will not allow you. So it is asking to enter three values. So you can give any three numbers. So 17 is the biggest among three numbers. Got it?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yes.
what will happen if the two values are same?
It will consider the first one because we are not verifying for any equal to, right?
Yes.
Suppose if B value, both the B's are same. Sorry, so both B and C are same. So when you say B greater than C, so that means if, let us say your numbers are 11 greater than 11. So
Sir,
is this
your
condition
voice is
true?
cut. Your voice is not audible.
Suppose if the values B and C are same values,
Yes, sir.
so both are 11s, let us assume. So
Okay.
B greater, sorry, 11 greater than 11, is it true or false?
No false.
That is false because 11 is not greater than, it is equal to 11. So this condition which I have written here is false. So simply it will move to the else block. And the second 11 is assigned to big, and that is displayed. So got it?
Yes, sir. Sir, if all the values are not be corrected, then it will show us the else.
If all values are
Not correct. If a value is smaller than B and C,
okay,
B and C are equal, then what will the result?
that is what I've shown you now. So when we discussing B greater than C, that internally it means is A is the smallest value. So then only you will come to this point. If A value is greater than, so it will simply assign that value to big and it will end up the discussion. If both B and C are same, so then only that is why I have written 11 greater than 11. Both B and C values are 11. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we'll write one more example. Uh, let us say we have some grades like this. If the average of the student is greater than 90, I'll say it as grade A. If it is in between 75 to 90, I'll say it as grade B. If it is in between 60 to 75, I'll say it as grade C. 40 to 60, I'll say it as grade D. If it is less than 40, I'll say it as. So I will consider some two, three or four subjects marks. So I'll consider some three subject marks of the student, and I'll calculate the average of that marks. And based on the average of that student, I will assign some grade to him. Okay. So got it? So how many possibilities are there here? If there is an average mark of a student, so what are the possibilities for that student? How many possibilities we have?
5.
5 possibilities. So A, B, C, D, or fail. Okay. See. So let us take his marks as in M1, M2, M3, and I'll say average. Okay. So a printf enter marks of three subjects. The user will enter his marks. So scanf percentile D, percentile D. So three marks I'm reading. I'll say ampersand M1, ampersand M2, ampersand M3. So these are three subject marks I have taken. And I have to calculate the average. I'll say average is equal to M1 plus M2 plus M3 and divide it with 3. So now what we have to do? So I have taken the marks and I have calculated the average as well. So now so what we have to do? So based on the average of his marks, I need to start allocating his grade, right? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
First, what are the possibilities for assigning his grade as A?
1.
What are the possibilities to tell that his grade is A?
Above 90.
Above 90. So I'll say if the average marks is greater than 90, so can I write like this? If his average marks is greater than 90, I'll simply display printf grade A. So this is fine. So what is the case if his grade is not A? If his grade is not A, that means his average is not greater than 90.
75 to 90.
Then I have to verify the possibilities for getting his grade B. So what I'll do else, if he comes in this category, what category it is? Average is greater than 75 and average is less than 90. You have to write both of them. It should be greater than 75. At the same time, it should be less than 90. Because if I don't write less than 90, 95 will also comes under this, because 95 is also greater than 75, but it is less than. To assign his category as B, his grade is, it lies in between these two points, that is greater than 75 and less than 90. Okay, I'll say it as printf grade B. Again, I'll write else if his average is greater than what we have taken here, 60 or 65.
60.
Okay, if it is greater than 60 and average less
Less
than,
than 75.
I'll print it as grade C. Else, if his average is greater than 40 and average less than 60. So it is grade D, right? So if he doesn't belong to any of these categories, the 4 categories which I have written, that means not A, B, C, or D, then without verifying anything, you can say that he comes under this category fail. So clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually, it should be written in the comment lines because that is not the part of our code. See, it is asking to enter the marks of 3 subjects. So I'll write 90, 86, and I'll say 79. So he comes under the category B. So by taking the marks, it calculates the average, and your average is getting compared. For comparison, I'm not using the marks directly. I'm using the average. So clear up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and we have one more multi-way selection statement. That statement we call it as switch statement. So this is also something. It is a bit similar to your else if ladder. Okay. So the structure. So you observe the right side flow chart. So it looks like your else if ladder flow chart. But the major difference between these two things is, so you observe when we are writing that else if ladder, we have taken one particular block for one range of values. That means when I'll compare it with the previous example which we discussed. Okay, so when we are assigning that student is he belongs to A grade, when we are telling that he belongs to the grade A,
When the marks are above the 90.
when the average is greater than 90, right? So greater than 90 means for all the values which are in between 90 to 100. So maximum averages up to 100. So we'll say it as 90 to 100. So when we are assigning grade B, it is for all the values which are in between 75 to 90. Right. So we are saying greater than 75 and less than 90. That means it is for a range of values. When we are not particular, so we have a range of values. and for all that range of values I want to assign his grade as B. So what is the range? In between 75 to 90. In between 60 to 75, I'll say grade C. So like that, I am assigning that grades for a range of values. So in that kind of situations, you can go with that else if ladder. So whereas in a switch statement, you have to be very particular. Suppose if it is 91, I want to do this task. If it is 92, I will do a separate task. That means I want to execute a different set of statements. If it is 93, I want a different statements. So that means here switch statement is written about a value which is very particular. Okay, if your value is particular, you want to execute. Suppose, see, I'll write like this. So switch is a keyword. Switch is a keyword. So here I'll be writing one expression. Inside the switch, I'll write one expression. So based on the value of this expression, that means if this expression value matches with constant 1, so we call this constant as case. So case is also a keyword. Case constant 1. That means if the value of your expression and value of the constant 1 both are equal, it will execute the statements which are written in this case. You can write any statements of your choice. Okay, so the number of statements are not restricted. And after executing all the statements, I'll say break. So when I say break, it simply comes out of your switch statement, completely out of your switch statement. If the expression value doesn't matches with constant 1, it verifies for constant 2. It verifies for constant 2. If both are equal, it executes these statements and it executes break. So in this way, you can write any number of cases as per your choice. You can say case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, like you can write any number of cases as per your requirement. Suppose if your expression value doesn't matches with any of the case you write, then it execute the, we call this as a default case. We call this as default case. If expression value doesn't matches with any of the case constants you write, then it goes and execute the statements written in the default case. Like that is like your else block. If doesn't matches with any of the expressions you write, it executes the else block in the case of that else if ladder. Here we call it as a default. So default is also a keyword. So you can't modify those keywords. Switch, case, break, default. So all these are the keywords here. So when we are writing the switch statement, we have to use all these keywords properly. Okay. See, in the flow chart you can see. So you can write a single expression. So its value is evaluated. If this value is equal to the case constant 1, then execute the code block 1, and then it comes like this. If it is equal to the case constant 2, it executes the code block 2, and it comes like this. If it is equal to the case constant 3, it executes the code block 3. So if it is equal to constant 1, it doesn't verify for constant 2 or 3. It simply comes in this way. That is the pink color line I have drawn here. So if it doesn't matches with any of the cases that were written here, like the 3 cases are written here, if the expression value doesn't matches with any of these constants, then it execute the default code block which is written here. And then also it comes like this. So this part is the statements which are written outside your switch statement. Okay, it looks almost similar to the execution style of your switch statement is similar to else if later, but the way we write and the situations where we choose is different. Clear? Yes or no? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? You got it or not?
No, sir.
No, what you don't understand? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Remaining students, are you there or not there?
There.
So you are only telling everyone's answer. You remaining people, you able to follow or not?
Following.
I can understand.
Okay, I'll tell you one example with how to write this switch statement. So maybe you will understand more when we discuss an example. I'll tell you one example. We'll see, and then if we still don't understand, we'll discuss again. Example on switch statement. Okay. Uh, See, I'll just print this message to the user. See here. So I'm just displaying this message to the user. So what message I'm displaying here is I'm saying, so 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, multiplication for 3, and 4 for division. And I'm asking the user to enter your choice. So I'm expecting user to enter a choice if to choose one among these 4. So whether he want to calculate addition or subtraction, multiplication or division. The user will enter one choice. I'll say it as, so choice, I'm taking it into a variable called ch. So depending on the user's choice, I want to execute that particular case. So I'll pass that ch as one argument to the switch statement. I'm passing that ch as one argument. So if the value of this ch is 1, so 1 means I want to perform
Addition.
addition operation. If the case value is 2, means I want to apply subtraction. If the case value is 3, I want to perform multiplication. And if case value is 4, I want to perform division. Maybe user may also give some number which is not this 1, 2, 3, 4. In that case, I will write the default. Got it? So I'm asking user to enter a choice. If he may give 1, 2, 3, 4, or he may give some other number. If the user is giving some other number other than 1, 2, 3, 4, I will display some message to the user. So that is why I have taken this default case. Okay. So before getting this, I'll read the value. So to perform some addition operations or this, I need the values of A and B. Enter 2 numbers. User will enter 2 numbers, and I'll read those 2 numbers as percentile D, ampersand A, and ampersand B. I have taken 2 numbers. I'm declaring those 2 variables also here, and I'll take one more for storing the result. So what I'll do in case 1, I'll calculate result is equal to A plus B, and I'm simply displaying the results. So some value is your result, and at the end of every case, you have to use this break. So the purpose of writing break is, without executing the remaining cases, I want to move the control out of this switch statement. The purpose of break is it moves the control out of the switch statement. So I want to do this when the option is 1. That means if it is case 1. So what if it is case 2? I'll calculate result is equal to A minus B. And I'll say printf. The subtraction is results. And finally, break. So in case 3, I want to calculate result is equal to A star B. So printf multiplication value is results. Okay, here you have to write percentile D. And finally, break. So when it is case 4, I'll calculate result is equal to A by B. So printf. So division value %id, and I'll say result. And here also break. So what if the user selected choice is not 1, 2, 3, 4? That means user has chosen some other number. So in that case, I can't perform any operation. I'll simply say so it was chosen a wrong choice was selected. Because I have given options only 1, 2, 3, 4, and user has chosen some other number. I'm simply saying the wrong choice was selected. So clear? So see. See, I am selecting a number 7. And it is by default it is asking to enter 2 numbers. And it is giving the wrong choice is selected. So enter a choice. I'll make it in a new line. See, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So it is asking to enter a choice of the user. Suppose if I have selected choice.
Multiplication name is wrong. Spelling is wrong.
So we are asked to enter a choice. So I have chosen option 2. So it is asking to enter 2 numbers. So I am saying 9 and 4. So option choice 2 is for subtraction. So it has calculated the subtraction, and the result is 9 minus 4. It is 5. So that way you can choose any of these choices. Okay. See, now if it is 3 multiplication, so it is again asking 2 and 7. Multiplication is 14. So this way you can perform any operation like four choices. So you can take, if you want to do modulus, you can add one more choice. So now you got it. So when you are writing the switch statement, so you can't write a case which is in between 1 and 5. Either you have to write them separately, then only it is possible to use a switch case. If you want to write it with the range of values like between 1 and 5, no option, you have to go for else if later. So clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is for today. So we'll meet you tomorrow. So if you have any doubts, you can just clarify now.
No doubts.
Okay, then we can leave then.
Sir. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, you are right. And when the running is when the compile and running. Hello.
Yes, yes. Tell me.
Sir, you have written once again that 2 numbers will be not coming. What?
Hello.
Sir, you have changed some things, sir, that to not come that to enter 2 numbers.
Enter 2 numbers. Yes.
Yeah, you have changed. First, you have selected the 7.
Yes. When it is 7, we have choices only 1, 2, 3, 4. So
Yes,
it
sir.
will display the wrong choice.
Before the wrong choice, it asked to enter two numbers. Why, sir?
So because in the code I have written like that. So first it will ask the numbers. So then it is verifying.
Okay.
In the code, what I have written is first I'm asking to enter the choice. Then I'm asking to enter two numbers. Later I'm verifying the choices.
Okay, sir.
So if we want, you can make it to you have to write it separately for every case otherwise. In that case, you will not get if the wrong choice is selected, it will not ask you to enter two numbers.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.